Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, the communist left's least favorite channel. You know, some people don't seem to understand why Donald Trump or politicians like Trump are so popular, but it's actually very simple. It's not a cult of personality like the left pretends it is. It's not blind, ignorant people just following a charismatic leader. What it really is a yearning, a true yearning for change. I know Obama popularized that as his slogan, that he was going to bring big changes to government, but on most of his promises he failed to deliver. He wasn't the real McCoy. And of course you get where I'm going with this. When Donald Trump said he was going to build a wall, he meant it. When he said he was going to cut taxes, he did it. A politician who promises change and then actually means it, well, that means something. And so that explains the Trump phenomenon, and it also explains the president of Argentina, Javier Milei phenomenon. This guy. It seems like the president of Argentina is delivering on some of his key promises. You know, the stuff that made him a controversial figure to the observing foreign elite journalist class. Let's take a look at the rise of Javier Milei. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so remember, he made some promises. There's, of course, this infamous clip.
De motosierra, porque eliminamos la obra pública de cuajo, algo de lo cual estoy profundamente orgulloso, siendo que la obra pública es una gran fuente de corrupción, de robo, a la cual me imagino que toda la gente de bien debería oponerse. Por otro lado, eliminamos también de cuajo las transferencias discrecionales a las provincias. También, echamos 50.000 empleados públicos. No solo eso, sino que además se dieron de baja contratos y fíjense que ahora están cayendo más contratos y van a caer 70.000 contratos.
And of course there's this clip.
Turismo y deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera, aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación, afuera. Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social, afuera. Ministerio de Educación, Adoctrinamiento, afuera. Ministerio de Transporte, afuera. Ministerio de Salud, afuera. Ministerio de Desarrollo Social, afuera. Se acabó el curro de la política. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
He made a promise as a candidate, what he dubbed the chainsaw strategy. Of course, we've seen his unique use of imagery. The goal was to slash government bureaucracy. He ran on a very interesting strategy of aiming to fire 50,000 public employees. You know, I'd say the modern political thinker would probably argue that promising to slash jobs or cut jobs or get people fired as your election platform, probably not a good idea. But once you're in the malignant stages of socialism, it seems as though you're left with no other choice. Javier Milei said he was gonna slash, and it seems as though slash is exactly what he's doing. You can't say the man isn't a man of his word. Milei to cut 70,000 state jobs boasting of chainsaw austerity. The government plans to fire 70,000 government employees. Javier Milei delivered the remarks at a business event in Buenos Aires. And so it's full anti-communist reform in action, pushing forward. You might even argue bulldozing forward or chainsawing forward. And that for a lot of people, and clearly millions of Argentinians, is a breath of fresh air, a politician taking an actual principled policy stance, or rather a whole set of beliefs and actually implementing it. Not this sort of naive bipartisanship that's taken over the West, just simply stay in a stalemate and pass policy that nobody actually wants on either side over and over and over again, using the government as your piggy bank, achieving very little in terms of actual concrete results. Javier Milei is no bipartisan meet in the middle, all for the show wannabe statesman. He's a true capitalist, a true conservative, an economic reformist. It's going to be an interesting social experiment to say the least, and we get the privilege of simply observing from the outside in to see where exactly this thing's going to go. And really, if you think about it, what happened in Argentina should probably be very closely studied. The ills of the nation are possibly foreshadowing for what's to come. What do you think's happening all over the West? Not just in America, but in most of Europe and in Canada. A slow march towards socialism, collectivist thinking, which leads to bigger and bigger government. Like I mentioned earlier, the malignant stages of socialism, where the end result is a a bloated government that pays itself to simply exist, lowered productivity, devalued currency, extreme wealth inequality. I mean, that's what big government does. It creates those who have and those who don't. The typical communist oligarchs who control industry and therefore by proxy control government. We are literally following the exact same path, the same thing that happened to Argentina, just maybe not at the same pace. And so the next decade's going to be crucial to see what these economic reforms do. I mean, we're already seeing short-term success as Javier Milei delivers Argentina's first surplus in over a decade. The revelation that Argentina has done something the US government hasn't done in more than 2 decades, run a budget surplus, seems like a newsworthy event. So why the silence? Slashing government, slashing regulation, a fiscally responsible approach to government spending. I mean, pretty much what every voter talks about in conversation, but most of the time doesn't actually vote for it at the ballot box. You know, the ideal, a lean, mean government machine that does only a couple things that are necessary and does them effectively without much waste and doesn't get involved in other nonsense. He seems to be dead set on actually doing it. We're gonna have to follow closely and see where this goes. I mean, this guy promised and said, I'm gonna fire 50,000 government employees. Enough of the paper-pushing bureaucrats. Let's get to work. And where in the West you'd probably expect, well, okay, let's see what happens based on that promise. Maybe, just maybe they'll cut like, I don't know, 10% of what they promised and really go after the most egregious things. That would be the expectation in the West. This guy promised 50,000 government jobs being slashed and came in and delivered 70,000. Talk about under-promising and over-delivering. You know, no wonder these politicians are perceived as having cult following. You know, if you're not willing to give it a chance, if you're not willing to look at it genuinely, it might feel that way, but I'd say it's less of a cult of personality thing and more of a positive feedback relationship. When you vote for someone and they actually deliver on what they told you they were going to do, that sort of lost transactional dynamic between voter and politician, it creates something known as a good relationship, you know, loyalty. You can view it as something dirty and say that it's cult-like behavior. I just view it as if you walk in the room and this is the reaction. If you walk in and the crowd's going crazy, well then there's probably something genuine about it. There's probably something to it. And as we see the same kind of love for Javier Milei, I'm listening to all the negativity as if these leaders are Hitlerian and gonna bring us to, you know, a world of fascism. I'm not so convinced yet. I think we might just be headed towards a world of economic prosperity and hopefully enshrined liberty and reduced government. We'll see. Maybe they're hysterics or maybe I'm not hysteric enough. I guess the Javier Milei Donald Trump timeline will reveal itself eventually. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys on this one. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.